Hey, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Devin, aka Devin the G. And if you're a Marvel fan like me, you must be extremely excited for the new movie Spider-Man Brand New Day. But honestly, some of the rumours for this movie are going out of control. Over the last few months, insiders, scoop accounts, fan theorists and leakers have all started painting their own pictures of how they think this movie will go. And honestly, some of them are so insane that they feel fake. But at the same time, there are pieces of some of these rumours that make a scary amount of sense. We're hearing rumours that Peter Parker may have a mysterious blonde neighbour. Norman Osborn is reportedly being introduced into the MCU properly. The movie could feature obscure villain Ramrod. The Punisher is going to receive upgraded tech and weaponry to deal with Hulk and Spider-Man level threats. Hulk and Spider-Man could battle directly in the film, and the movie may end with Peter Parker being presumed dead or completely missing. And today we're breaking all of this down, not just repeating rumours. We're talking about what actually fits MCU, which comic storylines Marvel could be adapting, what rumours sound believable, what sounds ridiculous, and what this means for Spider-Man's future after the events of No Way Home, and what this could mean after the events of Brand New Day. Now let's get straight into today's video, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you all enjoy it. Before we get into the rumours, we need to discuss the title of the movie, Brand New Day, because comic fans immediately recognised this name. In Marvel Comics, Brand New Day happened after one of Spider-Man's most controversial stories ever, One More Day. The storyline erased Peter Parker's marriage to Mary Jane from existence after Mephisto rewrote reality, and afterwards Peter Parker's life was basically reset. Suddenly he was single again, living in a small apartment, struggling financially, trying to rebuild his social life, fighting street level crime, and starting over from scratch. Now sound familiar? Because that's exactly where the MCU left Peter Parker at the end of No Way Home. Nobody remembers Peter Parker anymore. Not MJ, not Ned, not the Avengers, nobody. He is alone for the first time in the MCU. No Iron Man support, no billionaire tech, no public identity, no family, just Peter Parker and New York City. And that's why these rumours matter so much, because Brand New Day could give us the fully grounded movie that Spider-Man fans have wanted for years. Now let's talk about the rumour that exploded all over social media. Peter Parker having a mysterious blonde neighbour. The second that fans heard blonde neighbour, everyone immediately thought the same thing: Gwen Stacy. And honestly, Gwen entering Peter's life right now would make perfect narrative sense. Think about Peter emotionally after No Way Home. This is probably the most broken version of Peter Parker we have ever seen in live action. He sacrificed literally everything to save the multiverse, and now he's completely alone in a tiny apartment, separated from everyone that he loves. So introducing Gwen Stacy now could represent a new beginning for Peter Parker. A fresh friendship, a fresh relationship, a fresh emotional connection. And unlike MJ. Gwen Stacy usually meets Peter during his more adult college years. But here's where things get interesting. Marvel already knows that audiences probably expect Gwen Stacy to die eventually, thanks to the comics, Chasm 2, the Spider-Verse movies, and Gwen Stacy becoming one of the most famous tragic Spider-Man characters. But Marvel may decide to completely reinvent her character when she is introduced into the MCU. She may not even be Peter's love interest at first. She may just be a neighbour, a friend, someone who goes to the same college as Peter, a journalist, or someone connected to Oscorp. Now personally, I think there's another possibility that people aren't talking about enough. Felicia Hardy. Because introducing Black Cat now fits Peter's dark situation better than Gwen Stacy. Felicia is usually introduced during periods in Peter's life where he is isolated and emotionally unstable, and unlike MJ or Gwen Stacy, Felicia is tied more to Spider-Man than Peter Parker. That's important because Peter's identity is now erased. So someone falling in love with Spider-Man rather than Peter Parker could be a huge theme in the movie. Finally, there is one more character this mysterious neighbour could be: Eddie Brock. Now hear me out on this one, because this would not be the Sony Spider-Verse version of Brock, but an MCU version instead. Now this makes sense because we saw a piece of the symbiote left in the MCU after the events of No Way Home. So what if Peter gets the symbiote in the future? It is reportedly happening in Avengers Secret War if he gets it after defeating Eddie, because Eddie gets the symbiote in Brand New Day. Peter and Eddie could form a strong bond during the Brand New Day, through them being college friends or just from them being neighbours. And they form a very strong bond, maybe even best friends. But then one day Eddie gets the symbiote and becomes Venom, and Peter loses his best friend all over again because he has to battle him. That would be a significant loss to Spidey and could lead to darker Spider-Man movies in the future. Okay, now we need to talk about the rumour that could completely reshape Spidey's MCU future: Norman Osborn being introduced into the MCU. Now technically, we already see Norman Osborn in No Way Home, but that was Tobey's universe's version of Norman, played by William Dafoe. And remember one very important detail that was mentioned in No Way Home: Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU. This means that this universe either never had Norman Osborn or Oscorp hasn't risen to power yet. Honestly, introducing a native MCU Norman Osborn feels inevitable, because he's not just another Spider-Man villain. He is arguably one of the most important Spider-Man villains. He represents corruption, power, manipulation, political influence, corporate greed, and Peter's worst fears. And unlike villains like Dr. Octopus and Venom, Norman messes with Peter psychologically. This is what makes this rumour really interesting. Peter already watched a Green Goblin murder Aunt May, so imagine him meeting an MCU Norman Osborn. Peter would immediately panic, even if this Norman hasn't done anything wrong yet. And that's what creates a fascinating moral conflict. Does Peter blame someone for crimes another version of them committed. Marvel could turn Norman into a psychological horror figure for Peter without even making him the Green Goblin at first. And if Norman exists, then Harry probably exists too. That opens the door to one of Spider-Man's most important friendships. Imagine Peter finding friendship again, only for it to eventually collapse because of Norman. Now let's talk about the strangest rumour possibly connected to this movie, Ramrod. Most casual Marvel fans have absolutely no idea who Ramrod is, and honestly, that's understandable. Ramrod is an obscure villain associated with brute force and enhanced physical power. He is not exactly Doctor Doom level famous, but weirdly enough, this rumour kind of makes sense because Marvel loves pulling obscure villains into their projects now. Look at characters like the Spot, Frogman, Mr. Immortal, and Leapfrog. Marvel has realised that they can take lesser known villains and actually make them interesting. I highly doubt Ramrod would be the main villain though. Instead, he's probably a hired mercenary, muscle for Kingpin, an Oscorp experiment, or he's connected to anti-vigilante task forces. Now this rumour feels incredibly believable considering the route that Marvel is going in. With Daredevil Born Again bringing street level storytelling back into focus, Frank Castle, aka Punisher, entering Spider-Man's world feels natural. Think about Spider-Man from Punisher's perspective, a masked vigilante swinging through New York with superhuman powers and causing disruption. Frank Castle would definitely see this as dangerous. And if Hulk enters the story too, the city could descend into chaos. Now the rumour specifically states that Punisher will get major upgrades, and that could mean several things. Marvel might give Frank Chitauri-based weaponry, Stark tech, or experimental anti-enhanced ammunition. And honestly, this would be huge for the MCU, because for years, street-level heroes have felt disconnected from larger level threats in the MCU. But if criminals and vigilantes suddenly get access to anti-superhuman weaponry, New York could suddenly become way more dangerous. Okay, let's talk about the craziest rumour. Hulk versus Spider-Man. This kind of makes sense as we saw Bruce Banner in the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, and it makes perfect business sense for Marvel. Spider-Man is one of Marvel's most famous characters, and Hulk is one of Marvel's most iconic characters. Putting them together instantly makes the movie feel massive. But here's the big question. Which Hulk? Because if it's Smart Hulk from recent MCU projects, the dynamic changes completely. But if Marvel somehow manages to bring back Savage Hulk, that becomes 10 times more terrifying. Spider-Man obviously isn't beating the Hulk in raw strength. So if this fight happens, the point isn't victory, it's survival. Peter using intelligence, agility and strategy against an unstoppable force fits Spider-Man perfectly. And Marvel loves adapting classic comic moments. Spider-Man and Hulk have fought so many times in comics, games and cartoons, and usually those fights emphasise one thing: Spidey's courage. Now let's get into what could be the most important rumour of them all: Peter Parker being presumed dead or completely missing by the end of the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie. This honestly feels very believable because Marvel already erased Peter Parker socially in No Way Home. So the next logical step is erasing Spider-Man physically. So how could this happen? Well, Peter could get lost during a multiversal event. People believe Spider-Man dies fighting the Hulk. Peter intentionally lets the world believe that Spider-Man is dead. Or Norman changes events to destroy Spider-Man publicly. This creates huge storytelling opportunities for Marvel because suddenly Spider-Man is a myth, a ghost, an urban legend, and when he eventually returns, it becomes a major event for the MCU. So after breaking everything down, here's what I think. The most likely thing to happen is Norman being introduced into this movie, a darker street level tone, Peter being presumed dead or missing, and Punisher receiving upgrades. Now, stuff that I think will possibly happen is the new neighbour, like Gwen, Eddie or Felicia, and a battle between Hulk and Spider-Man actually happening. Now, the things that I think are least likely to happen is Ramrod being important, Hulk being a main villain, and the movie having full multiversal chaos once again. Whatever happens, one thing is clear. Brand New Day looks like it is going to completely redefine Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He will no longer be the kid from the Avengers. He is going to become the true friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. But what do you think? Should Marvel introduce Gwen Stacy in this movie? Would you like to see Hulk and Spider-Man battle it out? And should Peter Parker be presumed dead or missing by the end of the movie? Let me know your theories in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your friends, comment what videos you would like to see in the future, including fairy videos, because I have a lot of Marvel fairy videos headed your way. Also subscribe with all post notifications on so you don't miss another awesome video like this one. I will see you in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, peace out.